everybody, welcome to the Patriot Show. I'm your host, Anthony Stephen Malone. Today we have a special guest on the show, Maryan, Royal Marine veteran, author, speaker, and coach. Hello, Simon. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Anthony. Yeah, how are you?
Good man, good man. A lot of the viewers, especially the ones down in the south of the country, will obviously be aware of you and your background as well. For my viewers in places like Canada and America, can you give me a brief overview of your background, please?
My military career, I joined the Royal Marines. My father was a Royal Marine. I'm a large collection of Royal Marines in my family, and I always kind of explain it as a family of idiots because nobody ever learnt the lesson, I think, is the best description. So yeah, I joined the Royal Marines and did, I think, pretty much everything you can do in the Corps. Went everywhere, and I then, on the back of that, I got a real interest in psychology, and I did a sports psychology degree through the military, and that led me into an interest in human intelligence, and I ended up moving across into that line of work and progressed. Not only I had always had an interest, and I had a bit of a knack for making people feel comfortable, I think was the easiest description. So it was almost like a natural progression. And I continued studying psychology along the way, ended up going into behavioral psychology, counseling, psychology, and various other elements of human behavior along the way, which was obviously a massive help in that line of work. And it was, yeah, it just seemed to flow in that direction without even really thinking about it. So I just kind of went with it.
Okay, if it works, it works. One of those things. You've sort of skipped over a lot there of the military, Marines, and everything you've done there. You achieved a lot in the Royal Marines. The drive, the motivation that you had before you joined the Marines, during your service, you have brought that from that into civilian street now, into what you do now as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I had the motivation to join the military was, I think I knew from a very early age I wanted to join the Marines. Got photos, as I've got photos of my kids with my green beret on. I got a photo of me as a little kid, and there was a very, very strong drive from an early age. Traveled around a lot. My dad became when he left the Marines, became a commercial helicopter pilot. So we traveled around a lot, Middle East, Far East Africa. So I ended up going to boarding school, and that instills a lot of self-discipline and motivation. It's a good primer for the military, really. It's a very, very similar lifestyle. It's very structured, very regimented. You know exactly what you're doing all day, every day, and everything's done for you. You don't have to cook, you don't have to clean. So easy life, really. Cushy number.
Yeah.
And that took me, kind of made life easier in preparation to join and the beginning of being in the military. And I've always pushed myself. I don't know, I've always done things not necessarily, I've always taken the difficult route, sometimes to the point of stupidity. When you get to the point of banging your head against the same brick wall, wondering why your nose is bleeding. That's a bit daft, but the stubborn streak definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, was a huge help through training, because training's brutal. It's a long 8 months, and those moments where the only time you get any peace and quiet and privacy is when you sat in the toilet. You're sitting there with your head resting in your hands, going, "What the hell have I done?"
Yeah. Why am I here?
Yeah. And that has stayed with me all the way through. But what the interesting spin I think that I've discovered on that, and I think a lot of people will recognize, is that stubborn streak is great for getting through training and courses and doing your job. But there also comes a point where you have to stop. And this is where I kind of, the military mindset and training really kind of has helped me in civilian life as well, is there comes a point where you have to pause, and you might have to do a bit of a tactical withdrawal rather than battering on doing the same thing, expecting a different result. You've got to take a different tack. So you have to pause, take a knee, assess what the hell's going on, rather than just keep battering away, essentially self-sabotaging. Yeah. And that has really paid dividends for me. It took me a while to figure it out. Definitely took a while, longer than I would have liked in hindsight, but that's such is life. We learn the lessons we need to learn when we learn them. Yeah.
No, I just wanted my viewers to understand a little bit about you, because you are very motivated, hyper motivated. You were driven, but I think that came out a lot during your service, but I think it was there long before that, and you followed it through for what you've achieved since you left the service as well. Obviously, highly motivated, positive mindset, moving forward all the time. Your transition from your service into civilian street, as we call it, what was that like for you personally?
Looking back, it was quite a very confusing time, actually. Anyone who's been in the military and leaves, that sense of identity just disappears, and it's literally it's overnight.
Yeah.
You're this person in uniform with that green beret or whatever beret you wear and that cap badge, and that is your identity at that point. You know exactly who you are and what's expected of you, and then all of a sudden the gates slam firmly on your ass cheeks as you walk out, and you're like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And it can be quite a lonely, quite scary time. When I was medically discharged, I didn't particularly want to leave, but it was the sensible thing to do.
Yeah.
And it was difficult. I was going through a divorce at the same time, so I was losing my job, my marriage, and my home, all in one foul swoop.
Right.
Which was really hard. And I think it was I left in 99, and my resettlement course started in, I think it was October 98, and I did the Premier Training, personal training and sports therapy course, the residential course in Wiltshire. And I was actually, my TX date, my exit date was actually before the end of that course. So I was a civvy while I was finishing my resettlement course.
Right.
So it happens really, really quick when it happens. And I had no idea what was happening. I moved from the south of England back up to Aberdeen when I left. And I had no home. I was staying with a friend. All my stuff went into storage. The thing that kept me going was my two dogs at the time, to be honest. I had a black lab and an English Springer. I've got another Springer now.
Right.
Because I like little furry lunatics, I think is the best description. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, learned a lot about, that is a time to be resilient, that's for sure. But you don't know what it is you're doing. You don't know you're being resilient to cope with all that change in a very, very short space of time.
Yeah. Well, you did it. You managed to get through all of that from personal and professional point of view. You got hit with everything all at once. You kept your head, positive mindset. You got yourself through that. What happened next?
There's one thing that happened just before that. In the October is 98, October 98. I tried to kill myself.
Right.
I was sat in my flat in North London with I'd made myself a cup of tea, 2 chocolate digestives, because tea is too wet without them.
Exactly. Don't ever forget it.
Good quality dunkers. And I had that, and I was sat there, and I had the barrel of the pistol pressed into my right eye socket. And prior to this, I'd made phone calls to people to do my see you later thing without say goodbye without saying goodbye. And there was a friend of mine who I've known since I was 4 years old, who at the time lived in Bournemouth. And for whatever reason, he got off the phone, got in his car, and drove up. And by the time I was sat there with a pistol in my eye socket, and he rang the doorbell, which really pissed me off because it interrupted my flow. So I put the pistol under the cushion, the sofa cushion, and went and answered the doorbell. And then we went out and got absolutely wasted. So he took me out and got me drunk.
Well, that's what friends are for. They were stepping in when you're going through an hard time. Thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of the guys will respect the fact that you've shared that bit as well. All right, so you went out, you got wasted. Obviously, you had a hell of a hangover the next day.
Well, I should say that was epic. Yeah.
But sometimes you need a blowout to get your perspective and your head put right. Good friends are the ones who can put you back on the track again. We all fall off the tracks occasionally. Anyone who says they don't is telling porkies. We do. Friends are there to get you back on the tracks, moving in the right direction. So after 100%. You got over your hangover and everything, what happened after that?
Really, that kind of it was a shake up, and then I got some help. I kind of fessed up to having a hard time, and yeah, I got some help. It wasn't the help that kind of sorted me out, but it was a good start. And I, like many people, I tried and tested different treatments to find something that worked, and it took a long time. It took a long time. It was long after I left that I got help that really kind of hit the mark. Didn't get, there's, kind of blanked it all out while I was going through my resettlement course and moving back up to Aberdeen. And then, I just got straight back into the mix. I started working in doing personal training in Aberdeen, met my now wife, who is just amazing, to put up with my shit and put up with me is astonishing. So yeah, she's an absolute legend. That's why I call her the long-haired general now.
I've got one as well, mate. I've got a long-haired general who takes care of me as well.
Yep.
I think occasionally we do need it, mate.
Absolutely, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, that was quite. That was 22 years ago now. And yeah, just I struggled. I kind of, I was still doing the human intelligence stuff as a contractor. So I was I'd get mobbed and demobbed for tasks. I was also on the circuit, so I was doing stuff there. And I carried on until 2000. I sacked it all in 2008 because I was still studying and learning the psychological side of things from various perspectives and schools of thought. And it was a tough time. I had a wobble in I think it was about 2001, 2002. I had another one in 2016. But I think, it's just part of life.
Yeah.
you know, good times, bad times, ebb and flow. And definitely 2016 was the worst one since 98. That was definitely a bad patch for me, but I had a lot going on. My shoulder injury that got me medically discharged just got progressively worse. I ended up with 9 operations. I had one in 2016, one in 2017, major reconstruction in 16, and then it fused in 2017. So yeah, a lot of pain and discomfort as well didn't really help.
Well, yeah, exactly. But everyone gets the ups and downs. It happens. Like what you said, yeah, it is life. We get on with it. Okay.
Absolutely.
But it is difficult at the time, and it affects everyone around you as well. So it isn't just the veterans who go through an hard time. Families, wives, kids, that sort of thing. It affects everything. But you've stayed the course, as always, and you rose above all of that with a lot of help and support as well. You've gone on, and you're now a coach, aren't you, as well? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I was coaching in amongst all this stuff. I had my own stuff doing coaching and therapy. So in 2008, I started treating people, and then the therapy progressed into coaching when people were more on an even keel, and it was able to build on the stuff that they've developed and learned, and through the therapeutic piece, then goes into coaching. And then it's a phase of kind of more coaching, but doing therapy again when blips occur, because there is a very fine line between the two.
Yeah.
And then it was the coaching continues until people go, yeah, right, thanks very much. If I need anything, I'll give you a shout. So that piece continued all the way through, and that built and built and built, which is where the charity came into play in 2017. And obviously the charity came about on the back of the content of my book. The immediate care process was the amalgamation of stuff that I put together, and I've been using myself in my coaching and therapy work over a period of about 10 years, 10, 11 years before the charity came into play. So it was all that background that is what got the charity started, in order to deliver the immediate care that people needed, but obviously focusing on the veteran community as we were, the immediate care that was lacking in the system. People were finding it really hard to, when their head was up their ass in a flat spin, they couldn't access anything because the system was too slow.
Yeah.
So this was a kind of a plug and play. You could drop it in, and this would then give people the ability to self-regulate again, so that they can manage themselves up until they get more treatment.
Yeah. You were co-founder of that charity. What's the name of the charity?
The charity is called Icarus. Yeah. And there's kind of several levels to the meaning of the name. It came about because I literally dreamt about it. And I dreamt I was looking at myself from behind, and I could see myself looking up at the clouds, and the letters spelling Icarus were in the clouds, and the meaning for each letter dropped out into the grass. It was a very bizarre dream, but I got up and I woke up afterwards and wrote it down. So that Icarus is immediate care, assessment, and rehabilitation for uniformed services.
Yep.
So that's the acronym. There's also obviously the Greek myth of Icarus not paying attention to his dad, not flying too high or too low, and creamed in. And in mental health, there's the Icarus complex, and that's about helping to manage the highs and lows of what was manic depression, but now bipolar. So it came, the immediate care and rehabilitation is about helping people to kind of navigate through life's highs and lows without going too high or too low, trying staying in that middle band as much as possible.
Okay.
That's how it came about.
Yeah, I think my viewers will find that very interesting as well on that one. If anyone wants to find any more information out about the charity Icarus, where can they find that? Do you have a website?
Website, yeah, it's icaruscharity.org.
Okay. That link will be underneath the interview as well. So if anyone wants to have a look, click on it. I recommend have a look at it. It is very interesting. And if you're a veteran going through a hard time, have a look at it and read it. Okay, important. Okay, getting on to what you've done next. You've done the coaching. You've got that pretty much nailed. You're helping a lot of people. You then come up with the idea of writing a book as well, based on the course and a lot of what you've been through. Can you tell me a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, the book I've been using a specific set of mental tools, psychological tools that I've found have been the most consistently effective and successful. So I kind of cherry picked the ones that worked and brought them together. And sorry,
I've got
typical,
you.
somebody trying to bloody phone. I'm going to message them and tell them to hold fire.
So I'm just going to. Everyone, we had a slight technical issue there. Simon is now back.
Little Britain back in the room. Okay, so yeah, I cherry picked these techniques and brought them all together, and I used them because I used them for myself, but I found them just to be consistently effective for a whole range of things, just in terms of helping people to manage their mental, emotional, and psychological state, which kept their body in check as well. So, stop that fight or flight panic kicking in, and help people to help themselves to stop from spinning out of control. There's nothing worse when you feel that you're out of control of yourself. And there is this kind of weird misconception within human beings quite often, is that we can control everything outside of ourselves, but not ourselves. We are who and how we are. But we've got bugger all control of what goes on outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
But we have complete control of how we are and how we respond to situations and people, etc. We have control of that. That's one of the joys of being a human being. We have this cognitive processing ability. We have this consciousness and this executive functioning element in our brain that gives us the ability, when we learn and know how to take full advantage of it, to put the brakes on things and go, whoa, no, hold on.
Yeah, it's the human, how some people, the mentality and how we see things, it differs between every individual out there. Everyone has a different outlook on everything. Your book, specifically what is in it, there's obviously a lot in it. How long did it take you to write the book and explain the process of this?
I started writing in about when I had surgery in 2016. I started writing because obviously I had a lot of spare time. So 2016, I started writing it and piecing things together, but I didn't actually put it all together in a logical sequence until 2018.
Right.
So there was kind of 10 years of build up to it being actually written properly. But then again, there have been tweaks over the last 3 years, for it to become what it is now. So it's taken a long time.
This one in my viewers to understand how long it has taken you to get this to the point of it's published, it's out there, people can read it. This wasn't done in a couple of months, 6 months or a year. It took you years to get this right. So people should take the hat off to you. Anyone who can persevere that amount of time to get it right, it's got to be something that is worth a read anyway. Just there's a lot of people out there who can knock a book together, which some people can, in a couple of months, and they get it out there. That's up to them. You're not of that ilk. You took a long time putting this together to get it right. Just wanted my viewers to be aware of how much time it took you. What was your reaction when you, because this is obviously quite a recent thing, when you got your book published in your hand for the first time? How did you feel?
Well, if I could have still done a backflip, I would have done.
Yeah,
I don't bend like that anymore. But that, I want to, honestly, it was just an absolute pleasure to open up that box. And I mean, I've got one copy left. I've got more coming because I've got more people that want. This is the actual thing itself, and to have this and to be able to kind of flick through it, was extremely satisfying.
Happy days. Where can people go to buy your book, to read it? Is it on a website? How you sell?
I've done it through Amazon because it's the easiest way to make it accessible. So it's available in Kindle and paperback.
All right, so if people put in amazon.co.uk or in America, amazon.com, they will be able to find your deals.
Yep, they'll find, and there's a range of other regions and countries that it's available in through Amazon, so that there's quite a broad reach.
Right, so it's out there, people can find it. The actual
absolutely
the link to the book will be under the interview as well, which makes it even easier for my viewers to find it. If you hit the little scroll, it'll give you a short bio on Simon, and the link to the book will be at the end of that as well. So I recommend hit the link, have a look at it, have a read of it. You might learn something as well. Well, you will learn something. So highly recommended. Crack on. What are your plans? Are you planning on doing a second book? Explain a little bit what you're looking into.
Yeah, I mean, there is going to be a second book. This is, as you know, is basically taken from the course that I teach, which is a CPD accredited course in the UK. Gives an accredited qualification out of it. The reason I wrote the book is because not everyone wants a qualification, not everyone needs it, and I wanted to make it as accessible as possible, as cheaply as possible, for as many people as possible. Because I've had some people say, I wish I could do the course, but it's for veterans. And I was, well, veterans are human beings still. So most of the time, some are slightly alien, but it depends on what unit. But this just makes it easy. People can read this, and the tools themselves are so simple. What I've done, why it took so long, was because I took these different techniques and I reduced them down to the simplest form possible that works. This immediate care process is what in a therapeutic setting, is the very first session with somebody is I teach them these 3 techniques, because then they experience it working in that very first session, so that it builds their confidence that they have control, puts the remote control back in their hands for their brain and their mind, and it's a quick win that they can then build on every single day by practicing this every single day. It's about self-maintenance, so it's about being proactive and using it.
Yeah. No, it's thank you for taking the time to write such a book. that I know a lot of people are reading and they're getting a lot of benefit out of it as well. Before we wrap the interview up, is there anything else you would like to say as well?
What would I like to say? I just, in terms of kind of everything we've talked about in terms of, you know, the human resilience, is that we all have it. It's just we forget that we have it sometimes. There are other, you know, if people look back on their life and other periods, if you're having a really crap time, you know, there will be times that you can look back on where you have been resilient. You just may not have recognized it as being resilience.
Yeah. And
to tap into that, what is it you did that got you through that?
Yeah.
And drag it out, identify what it was that, what did you do in those times or in that time to get you through that that comes under that kind of resilience and that strength and that grit that we all have to get through. And on a cheeky note,
on that one, it's all about keeping a positive mindset, even if you're going through an hard time, especially now. COVID has hit a lot of people a lot of families. It's hit
hugely
veterans very, very hard. We've lost so many veterans in the past 18 months. It's phenomenal. Yeah. I'm going to give you a statistic here. In America, since 9/11, 150,000 veterans to this day have taken their own life in America.
Wow.
All right. Think about that figure. It's out there. Not just me saying it. That figure's out there. Officially. Yeah. It's actually a little more now. But yeah, it's a positive mindset moving forward. And out of everything that you've spoken about, which is very important, Simon, one of the key things is if you're going through an hard time or you've got a friend who's going through an hard time, reach out, pick up the dog and bone, have a chat, pop round and see him. Okay? Don't let
save a life.
Become another statistic. Yeah, you can save a life. Pop round for a brew with COVID restrictions obviously allowing. Got to say that. In my sense, pop round for a brew, have a beer, see your mate, make sure he's all right. End of. Okay? You never know. It's normally the guys who you least expect are the ones who are going through an hard one. Okay? I've been through an hard time. Simon has a lot of other veterans out there as well. Okay? Yep. All over the world. You're not alone. Reach out to somebody. Okay? It's important, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of girls out there that I know who are veterans. They battle just as much. One of them I was on the phone with in the early hours of the morning. Okay? My number's always on. I'm easy to get hold of. I'll take anyone's calls at any time. Not a problem. My girlfriend goes a bit mental at this one, but we're here to help anyway. That's the way it is. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Simon, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure, entirely.
Your experiences and how you have brought them across. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know a lot of other veterans will be thinking now a lot about what you've said. His book, highly recommended. Get on it, read it. You'll learn something from it anyway. Again, Simon, if you can hold on the line for second place. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Patriot Show. It's been emotional. It's been educational. Catch you on the next show. Thank you for watching.